So, David, is this a good move for King Charles?
I think not for the first time. It's the height of folly. Also, it's 180 years late. What we forget is that the monarchy apologised fully, absolutely and eloquently for slavery in 1840, when Prince Albert, who's whatever Charles's great-great-great-grandfather, said, slavery is the desolation of Africa and the blackest stain on civilized Europe. That's then. And also, what's interesting about it, Esther, is that's when we were doing something about it. Only 3 years before that, Britain had abolished the entire slave trade and slavery throughout the British Empire. The whole weight of the British Navy was being turned against slavery. And Britain is, remember, every country in the world has had slavery, right? Britain is unique in one thing: it abolished it. So Charles, I think, is making a profound mistake. It's something else, too. We do need research, but what we need real research in, Esther and Phil, is why nobody thought slavery was wrong in the 18th century, in the 17th century. You see, these people, the king in question who received those slaves, who received the investments in the Royal Africa Company, William III, was a moral Protestant king. The man who gave him those investments, Edward Colston, saw himself as an upright, charitable citizen and a Christian. They didn't think they were doing wrong. And what's extraordinary is, remember, there's nothing in the Bible that condemns slavery. There really isn't. St. Paul talks about slavery, but he says, slaves should behave well to their masters, and their masters should behave well to their slaves. And by the way, in the sight of God, we're all equal. But he doesn't say anything about abolishing slavery. So the really big question is, why suddenly, in the late 18th century, only in Britain, the movement begins to say slavery is wrong? See, there's a moral revolution. And why we get the past so wrong is we think they think the same as we do.
Are we right to be bringing this up now, going back to that past? What will come of this? What are they hoping will come of this?
Look, I mean, what I think the ideal would be some sort of reconciliation. But we saw the business of Ngozi Fulani in the palace. The palace reaches out to these people. And what do? They just want to make as much trouble as possible. What the monarchy should be, what Charles should be saying is, this is an episode in our past which Britain solved within its past. In other words, this is not a running sore. We don't have slaves. By the way, there are slaves in Africa. There are slaves in China. There are slaves throughout the entire Arab world. We, on the contrary, have pioneered to destroy it. But the interesting question, Esther, is why we've changed. Why we now think it's disgraceful. And what King Charles should be doing is looking at the part his ancestors played in that. A king that he's very keen on, George III, plays in the late 18th century, plays a leading part in the invention of this word humane. In other words, becoming kind, charitable, not torturing, not injuring, not enslaving.
David, just very quickly, if you can, because we need to go to a break, but is there a sign that the royal family are sort of going a bit woke, not just with this, but with William and Kate appointing Jacinda Ardern to their Earthshot Prize board? Is there a danger that the royal family are sort of lurching here into the political spectrum and lurching to the left?
I think they're making I think you're right. I think they're making a profound error. I use the phrase, it began with William the Conqueror. It might end with William the Woke. Because there's one thing for certain, woke people do not support the monarchy. So the monarchy, by these kind of gestures, is losing the people that watch GB News, that support the monarchy, and trying to court the favour of the Guardian that fundamentally hates it. So it's not only bad history, it's bad politics. Is that brief enough for you?